Welcome back to another episode of Sean and Ed's Do Baseball. I'm Sean.
And I'm Ed's.
And we are bringing you the baseball history.
That's right. We're bringing the baseball history on our bi-weekly baseball history podcast, where the story catcher doesn't know what the story pitcher is out there throwing them.
That's right.
That's right. And I'm out pitching today.
And I have no idea. I got no idea what's coming.
I'll tell you, it's not a pitcher this time.
It's not a pitcher.
You pitched a pitcher last time. What a great story, by the way, about Oil Can Boyd.
Well, no pitching pitchers. And yeah, Oil Can Boyd, that was a doozy. I'm excited for what you got for us today. Mm-hmm. Where can the people find us, Edsy?
You can find us on Twitter, x.com, at Doing Baseball, and on TikTok and Instagram, at Doing.Baseball. And I got a personal Twitter, at Eds Do Baseball.
And I'm at Sean Do Baseball.
Yeah, and wherever you're listening to us, whether you're on Spotify or Podbean or Apple Podcasts or Amazon, any of that stuff, thank you for listening. And if you can give us a rating or review, we would greatly appreciate that. And again, thanks for listening. Yeah,
thank you so much. And thanks to Two Loons, our sponsor today, Two Loons Brewing. Check them out at twoloonsbrewing.com. A brick and mortar coming to the west side of Toronto soon. Get their IPA and find their lager and other creations that they've made recently at the LCBO and at local beer festivals and stuff. Check them out.
Of course, please be of legal drinking age and enjoy responsibly.
All right. So, you're not pitching a pitcher.
I'm not pitching a pitcher.
We've pitched a lot of pitchers, and you're going to be pitching, are you on the field, off the field?
I'm on the field this time.
All right.
Well, actually, no. I'm actually off the field again.
All right.
Now that I think of it, it kind of... This story will kind of go back and forth in a few different directions before kind of circling back to a nice moral of the story at the end.
Wonderful.
You want to say I got a tip here for... the baseball season is about to begin.
Yes.
And this, by the end, I guess, will kind of resolve itself into a nice tip for how a team could, get themselves through a long season of 162 games.
Yeah. Okay. I'm interested.
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
But today, I actually want to loosen things up a little bit because we've had some rather serious subjects for the last few episodes, Sean. We've talked about some groundbreakers and some serious adversity in childhood and life in general for some players.
Yeah.
We've talked about placating a revolution in a foreign country using baseball.
Yep.
And we've also set the record straight on a death in the world of baseball.
Yeah.
To kind of wrap up last season.
Yeah, we go dark places a lot.
Yeah, as one of our friends said, we make them want to hug their family at the end of some of these episodes.
It's a baseball podcast. Of course you're going to be destroyed.
It's a family game. So today, as I said, I want to lighten things up a bit and actually harken back to some of the early days of this podcast.
Okay.
And of course, have a bit of fun. So as a hint, as we usually try to give each other, ask you to think about some records that you might be able to break yourself if a major league was ever to take a flyer on you for a short period of time.
Yep.
Did you think of any?
Not.
Okay, well,
maybe walks.
Walks?
If I'm lucky,
or hit by,
or
true.
maybe
You're coming from it from a different side of the plate than I am.
Oh, okay.
Different side of the ball, right? Because
Okay.
I thought of it as a hitter, of course, right?
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like, if I was a lucky hitter, maybe I could get walked enough to set a record. No, or hit by pitch. Like that's
Okay.
my only chance here as a 36-year-old that hasn't.
Okay, well, I like the angle that you're coming at it from. Like, you're coming at it from a much more positive angle than I looked at it from, because the ones that I kind of I thought of 3 of them.
Okay.
We'll sort of talk about those just briefly before we actually get into the real story here.
Okay.
But I thought, like, most games without a hit.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
If a team was willing enough to, like, let me suck for a while,
long time, yeah.
So, like, most games without a hit.
Yep.
Possibly most games with a golden sombrero.
There you okay, yeah, that's 4 strikeouts, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, just to clarify there. Or most consecutive strikeouts. You know, something along those lines.
See, maybe I am just very full of myself.
Overly confident.
I'm like,
I can hit against those major league guys.
No, I'm just saying, if I just stood up there and just kept the bat on my shoulder,
Yeah.
maybe eventually I would set the record for being hit by the ball if I was lucky, or if the pitcher somehow, like, I just got enough walks. Like, anyways.
Well, I mean, some people would maybe argue that that's a little arrogant, but like, let me talk about the first record we're going to talk about here is like when you hear this.
Okay.
This is the kind of thing that you hear, and that makes your average person go, "I'm not that bad. I could probably play that." You know, okay, so the most games without a hit is the record in question here. So in 2018, Orioles first baseman and DH Chris Davis hit a double off James Shields of the White Sox on September 14th, and then went 0 for 21 to finish off the year.
Okay.
And then he began 2019 going 0 for 33 before breaking the 0 for 54 with 3 hits against the Red Sox on April 13th.
Yes.
He actually also set the record for 57 plate appearances without a hit set by Clevelander Tony Bernazard in 1984.
Ah.
So, like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like your average, when I read this, I was like, I feel like I could maybe get a hit in 57 plate appearances, but now that I'm saying it out loud, I don't think I could.
No.
And I wouldn't even come close, actually.
No, you wouldn't. I mean, there's a chance, but no.
It would be very lucky if I would be catching lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, absolutely.
If that happened. So, okay, let's go most games with a golden sombrero.
Love it.
This isn't consecutive, but this is just most in a season. In 2018, Joey Gallo set the record for most golden sombreros in a season with 6. And Ryan Howard has the most career games with a golden sombrero in the National League with 27. And Reggie Jackson has the most in the American League with 23.
Oh, okay. I think I would have. I might have guessed Howard, but I don't think I would have guessed Jackson.
Yeah, I wasn't around to watch it the same as you were, but I don't think of those older eras as strikeout eras. You know? Like, I feel like 4 strikeouts, especially for an all-star player like Jackson, would be, hard to come by, but apparently not. So moving on to the most consecutive strikeouts. The most consecutive strikeouts title goes to Sandy Koufax with 12.
As a hitter.
Yes, as a hitter. Okay. Obviously. Yes.
Okay, yes.
Yes, because I'm looking from the negative side of the ball.
Yeah.
Understandably, it would be a pitcher in this case. But the record for consecutive strikeouts for a non-pitcher is held by many men with 9. Steve Balboni, Reggie Jackson, Bo Jackson, Yoan Moncada, Adolfo Phillips, Eric Davis, and Mark Reynolds. And finally, the most strikeouts consecutively, but not necessarily in consecutive games. Be like a pinch hitter guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Is held by former Expo Mike Thurman, who had 15 straight strikeouts in 1998.
Jesus.
So, I ask you in the writing here if you came up with any ideas for yourself, but we kind of already did that.
We did already
at the beginning there. So,
and I did the opposite.
Yes,
of what you really were asking.
Yeah. You said no.
I mean, I'm interested in the fact that there's a lot of guys from a few different eras in there. Set most of those especially with the strikeouts, consecutive strikeouts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean,
I remember the Chris Davis hitless streak. Mm-hmm. It was only 5 years ago.
Yeah, very recency bias in that one.
Yeah,
or whatever. So, Sean, as usual with our hints, most of the time, I sent you on a bit of a fool's errand, even though you didn't really do it.
Yeah, I fucked that up.
Yeah, whatever. It's okay, because the record I'm going to highlight in today's episode is not one that you'll find in the MLB record books. But it is one you'll hear about in oddball baseball folklore, and it was set just east of Broad Street at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And it was broken there many times after that, too. It was the perfect setting for a most American record in the former capital of the Union, and coincidentally broken for the first time on a very patriotic night, May 1st, 2011.
Okay.
You know what happened on May 1st, 2011?
I have no idea.
Well, we're going to get to that in a second, Sean. The Mets and the Phillies played the nightcap.
It's always the Mets.
I know. On Sunday Night Baseball, New York looking to salvage at least one victory after dropping the first two games of the series. It was a tight game that went into extras, the Mets taking a 2-1 victory in the 14th, perhaps spurred by the news announced in the top of the ninth inning that the United States SEAL team had killed Osama bin Laden.
Okay. This is taking the turn I was waiting for.
It'll turn again, don't worry. Chants of USA, USA echoed through the stadium and the city. And from ESPN writer Adam Rubin's story from the time, quote, the chants of USA in the visitors' clubhouse after the game were partially reflecting the international news, but they were also celebrating an American tradition, gorging oneself.
Okay.
For Mets bullpen catcher Dave Ranciello had celebrated the news of the death of public enemy number one that Sunday evening with his 14th Philadelphia Cheesesteak sandwich in 3 days. The most peacefully American celebration one could imagine.
So who ate 14 what?
Dave Ranciello, the Mets bullpen catcher, ate 14 Philadelphia cheesesteak sandwiches in 3 days.
And they just...
And inadvertently celebrated Osama bin Laden's death with the most American tradition.
They are cheering both for America.
Yes.
And for Dave Ranciano's 13th Philly cheesesteak sandwich?
14th, my friend. 14th, my friend. Sean, another food episode, my boy.
Oh my God. Okay, where are we going?
Okay, so just kind of give some context here. As Blue Jays fans... Yeah. We're privileged to be able to participate in Looney Dog nights at the Rogers Center on Tuesday night home games. Now, for me personally, on Looney Dog nights, like a 4 or 5 hot dog night is pretty standard.
Sure.
You know, they're not big.
No.
Keep in mind they're pretty small hot dogs, maybe 5 or 6 inches, 1 inch in diameter.
You're really describing hot dogs here.
These are pretty big hot dogs, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
If you know what I'm saying.
All right.
Yeah. My personal record is the night I challenged myself to eat 1 hot dog per inning, and I was successful in a 9-inning game.
9 dogs.
Yeah, 9 hot dogs.
God, that's the great part about baseball. You can pace yourself.
It was pacing yourself, dude. It was a horrible experience. I regretted doing that 100%.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, well, first we need to talk about the trendsetter in this situation, Dmitri Young. Do you remember him?
Yes, I do remember Dmitri Young.
Dmitri Del Young was born in Vicksburg, Mississippi on October 1973, the eldest child of an unusually gifted athletic family in which his brother Delman also became a major league player and a number 1 draft pick.
Yep.
And his sister Deanne played softball at Oregon State University. Young's father, Larry, was a Delta Airlines pilot who had been one of the U.S. Navy's first African Americans to fly an FY-14 fighter jet.
Whoa.
Cool little interesting stuff.
That is an interesting thing about the Youngs.
After a stint in Virginia Beach, Virginia, his family soon moved to Southern California, where Dmitri and his siblings grew up spraying line drives across Ventura County, a coastal area just north of Los Angeles. And he played at Rio Mesa High School in Oxnard and never hit less than 400 during his days there. Mm-hmm. He was an All-American in his senior year. And originally he committed to play ball at the University of Miami, but after being selected 4th in the first round of the 91 draft by the Cardinals, he decided to go to the minors instead of going to school.
Yeah, so he signs.
Yeah, so he signs. In stints with Johnson City, Springfield, Arkansas, St. Petersburg, and Louisville, Young was a 4-time Baseball America Top 50 prospect from 1992 to 1995 and ranked as high as number 12 in 1993.
Okay.
So that's just quick little background on Young getting to the majors there.
Yeah, he was a top prospect basically the whole time.
Mm-hmm. In 95, Young punched a fan who had been heckling him and calling him racial slurs.
Well,
Yeah, well, you get what you deserve.
you get punched sometimes if you do that stuff, but I'm sure that wasn't
It earned him a suspension he was in the Texas League.
Yeah.
So after being named the Cardinals minor league player of the year in 1996, when he hit .333 at AAA Louisville, Young got a late season call up to the majors and played in 16 games. But at this time, the Cardinals had like a pretty solid group of veterans in their outfield with like Ron Gant, Ray Lankford, and Brian Jordan.
Yeah.
Who were all like kind of in their prime at the time.
Yeah.
And then they also
established.
Yeah, exactly. And then they also had another young guy, John Mabry.
Yep.
Who came up and he hit .307 as a rookie, which kind of left Young the odd man out.
Okay.
So the next year, Jordan suffered a season-ending injury in early '97, and Young got brought up to play first base, and they moved Mabry to the outfield.
Okay.
But then the Cardinals made their big splash at the trade deadline and got Mark McGwire.
Yeah, because I had no memory of Young being with the Cardinals.
Right. Yeah, because he basically only came up for these short cups of coffee, and then that when McGwire came up, that moved him into a platoon position in the outfield, and obviously he was expendable. So shortly after the '97 season, he was traded to the Reds.
Yep.
For relief pitcher Jeff Brantley. Young was then chosen by the Rays in the expansion draft, but then was sent back to Cincinnati to complete some deal. It's a weird thing. Like they picked him. And then they let him go and then got him back by like acquiring more stuff. That really worked out well for the Reds by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it's some weird expansion era. They were like, we got too many guys. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, it sent Mike Kelly to Tampa, and Young's back in Cincinnati. Young went on to hit .300 or better in each of these 4 seasons in Cincinnati as a corner outfielder and became one of the franchise's anchor players from '98 to 2001. Along with Casey and Aaron Boone. So after a rocky end in Cincinnati, I guess he kind of butted heads with the front office and stuff. Young was dealt to the Tigers for Juan Encarnacion and Luis Pineda at the end of the 2001 season.
Yeah, this is the Young era, I remember.
Yeah.
Detroit Tigers.
Exactly.
Young.
Same here. But at this point, landing in Detroit for Young was basically like being put on a deserted island and sent to exile.
Oh, shit.
That's how he felt anyway. Yeah. I feel like this was probably a time, if I think back, where the Tigers were like rebuilding. Right?
Yeah, they were horrible, I think, in the early 2000s.
They got good a few years. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Like I say, it was like exile. Due to his below average speed, Young was used mostly as a designated hitter, which probably worked out well for him being traded to American League team.
Well, I was going to say, he came up with National League teams, and I remember him being mainly a first base DH, and it's just back when pitchers hit, it was just so much harder to be that, because even if you got at bats, you would still there'd still need to be heavier rotation, and then be some games where you'd get pinch hit for it either way.
You'd be in and out.
Yeah, much more than in an American League where they just have it, and now they have it across both leagues, obviously.
Yeah, so as I say, he spent most of the time as a designator and was injured before the All-Star break that year to cap off a disappointing initial start in Detroit. The following year, the Tigers lost an AL record 119 games under rookie manager Alan Trammell.
Yeah.
We all know Alan. Well, most of us know Alan Trammell, a career Tiger.
Yeah.
So that was probably tough for him and for the fans. For Young, however, 2003 was his best season as a big leaguer, and he split time between DH and left field. He achieved career highs in hits with 167, triples with 7, home runs with 29, and OPS with 909. While he bat .297, and he was chosen for his first ever All-Star game.
So he was the highlight of that year for Detroit.
Pretty much.
That was it.
Yeah, it says right here. Although the team struggled mightily, Young relished become its veteran leader.
Yep.
At 29 years old, he had hit his prime in what seemed like a dramatic fashion. But by 2006, he had lost another step, and the Tigers released him in the middle of their pennant race.
Okay.
Which is unfortunate for him, but anyway. He got another chance with the Nationals during some lean years following their move from Montreal.
Yep.
But essentially the best of Young's major league days were over. But his pedigree kept him around during the twilight of his career. And it was during these twilight days of Young's career where he spent a majority of his time as a veteran influence on the bench that Dimitri was able to carve a place in MLB history, not with his bat, but with his belly.
So I was like, when is this getting to hot dogs?
Here we go. It's not hot dogs, Philly cheesesteaks.
Oh my God. We're back to the cheese
Yeah,
steak.
the two-time All-Star doesn't recall the exact year or game, but he puts his total at 11 over a 3-game series. And it wasn't even a contest in the beginning, obviously. Nobody even challenged Young to do it.
Just did it. Sometimes heroes are not people that, that answer
Not
the
all heroes
calls.
wear capes, man.
They're not the ones that answer the call. They're the ones that make the decision.
Yeah, that's right. Quote, it wasn't even a dare, Dimitri told Matt Monaghan for his article on MLB.com. I was just hungry. I was a fat ass.
That's the best. Thank you.
Yeah, Young had unintentionally launched a contest among MLB personnel that would continue on for nearly 2 decades and counting.
My fucking God. So everybody found out that he ate these sandwiches
he probably wasn't playing that weekend. He was just like, fuck, these Philly cheesesteaks are good, man. Give me another one of those. And they're made, I'll explain it in a second, but they're made in the visitors' clubhouse. So,
okay. So it's in the stadium where these cheesesteaks are coming from.
You want to hear the rules of the contest? There's rules.
Dude, like, I was about to ask you, like, how are the rules? Like, what if you get it from one restaurant? What if you get it from a different? And you you have it.
We got that covered, buddy.
All right.
So over the years, rules have developed and new categories have been created.
Oh my God.
And what exactly are these rules, Sean? Number 1 is everything must be consumed in the clubhouse.
Okay.
So you can't be in the dugout chowing down, I don't think.
Or you can't take it to go and be like, I ate them.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously no yakking. So you can't throw up and then be like, well, start up again. I'm on number 7.
Okay. There's civilized rules.
No, and of course, some form of meat must be on the bun, whether it's chicken or you're allowed a chicken cheesesteak, apparently.
Well, I would say
beef cheesesteak.
Well, I know for a fact that like at some point in Jose Bautista's career, he wouldn't eat red meat during the season.
Right.
So that's like a trend
it's been made to accommodate players with that kind of diet.
Yeah.
And the bun must be filled.
Okay.
So, it can't be, you can't just put a little tight little layer chicken or beef on there and just plow through it.
Okay.
The size seems to be at a standard 10 to 12 inches.
Okay,
So
sure.
you got a foot-long sub here.
Yeah.
The sandwiches are all made in the visitors' clubhouse. Since 2014, they've been cooked by clubhouse attendant Eric Michaels and his team. Quote, we make them as they come in, Michaels told Phillies beat writer Todd Zolecki for MLB.com. Quote, we don't just make a bunch of cheesesteaks and then the players come in and say, can I get one? And say, yeah, here you go. So they're made to order is what he's saying.
So he's like, they can't just like grab a bunch and what, like, I know who's ordering what cheesesteak.
That's right. He's got them. Yeah.
He's got the tally going.
Yeah. He's got a little thing marked. He's got a little whiteboard there next to the grill. I don't know if he actually does, but in theory, that's what we're implying.
Just end of the night, just like, all right, go to the board and put it in the Excel spreadsheet on the hard drive.
That's right. Yeah.
We got to track these motherfuckers.
Make sure you put that in the safe before you go. Yeah. So if you come into the clubhouse and say, can I get a cheesesteak with mushrooms, provolone, and onions, we're hand-picking the mushrooms and onions out of a little jar and taking the provolone out of the fridge, and we're making that sandwich specifically for you.
Okay.
That's what Michael says.
All right.
So the 3-game series, 3-day record is how the cheesesteak eating contest started. So that's the gold standard. For this thing,
it has to be a 3-game series. It can't be.
It doesn't have to be, but it's categorized. It's split. It's counted differently, obviously, if there's a 4-game mark.
Sure.
So like I say, there's the 3-day gold standard. There's a 4-series mark and a 1-day crown.
Okay.
And a team 1-day title.
Wow.
So there's lots of different in Monaghan's article on MLB.com. It actually has like a chart like split into all the different categories and has like, top 5 of each one.
Well, I just feel, obviously I'm thinking about the Blue Jays, and they normally have a 2-game series in Philadelphia most years. I'm like, they can't compete.
Yeah.
They can't compete for the crown. They can only compete for the subcategories.
It's not fair.
I just literally said subcategories.
Yeah.
Okay, fuck.
I see what you did there.
I did not even mean to.
That's a good one, though.
There you go.
As mentioned before, in a most patriotic day, Mets bullpen catcher Dave Ranciello set the new mark in 2011, but his record would only stand for a couple seasons.
Oh my God.
Another Mets bullpen catcher, Eric Langell, set out to beat his counterpart and accomplished the feat with 17 sandwiches in 2013.
Okay.
NJ.com wrote, Langell was going strong after his first couple sandwiches and then began slowing down as he got to his 5th.
Yeah.
But the former Montreal Expos draft pick fought on, determined to beat his friend and rise to the pantheon of Mets bullpen catcher cheesesteak eaters. There's only one so far.
Yeah, there's only one. There's only one.
Yeah. He quit eating breakfast every day.
I was going to say, I'm like, if you didn't eat any other food, it might be attainable.
Oh, you'll wait till you see how serious some
God.
fucking guys are about this, buddy.
There's rules. I know they're serious.
No, yeah. Quit eating breakfast every day, arrived to the park early on the bus, and just focused on the task at hand. He even swapped out steaks a few times for chicken, which, as I mentioned, this is allowed under the rules.
Sure.
And by the end of day 3, he had reached 17 sandwiches.
Oh, dear God.
Quote, it's torture, Langell said at the time. It's not fun, but at least you're on the list.
No. This is like the MLB equivalent of those fucking steakhouses where you like eat
Yeah.
the like giant steak in an hour and you get your picture.
You eat 18 cheesesteaks, the weekend's free.
Yeah.
It's like, the weekend's free already. What do you mean?
This
This is our job.
You were getting paid for this, sir.
Yeah.
Unlike those people.
It would
The steakhouse heroes of the world.
Yeah. The true working class heroes out there. Gotta eat for their free meal.
Don't live in New York.
Langell's mark would fall less than 2 years later as well. However, this time on a dare.
Okay.
And from Monaghan's MLB.com story again, Brewers bullpen catcher Marcus Hanel told Monaghan he had no plans for breaking Raciello's 3-day record. Or I guess it was Langell's record at the time.
Yes.
Yeah. Quote, I had no intentions of doing anything. Ed Cedar at the time was the third base coach. He was doing an interview a couple days before we were going to Philadelphia, and they asked him, like, what are you going to do in Philadelphia? Are you going to do some sightseeing? On a whim, he goes, well, I'm going to watch my boy Marcus destroy some cheesesteaks and go for this record.
It's like, what? Record?
All the
sir?
reporters are like, what are you talking about? Who's Marcus?
Who's Marcus?
Yeah.
He's just sitting there like...
He's like, fuck.
Ah.
So anyway, Hanel obliged the coach, and he took down 6 sandwiches on his first day in Philly after throwing batting practice while shagging flies and before catching bullpens. Quote, the first day was the worst, Hanel remembered. Going to catch bullpen, you're like, God, I just crushed 4 cheesesteaks. I really didn't want to move at all. The guys would kind of laugh at me. Once he finished his 18th, writers Adam McCalvey and Tom Hodgercourt got him a cheesesteak hat from a special theme night held by the Phillies AAA Lehigh Valley affiliate.
So, first of all, this is insane that they're approaching this like it's some sort of actual thing
Something to do.
accomplished or be
Like,
proud
gotta get
of.
that belt, man. Gotta get the cheesesteak belt.
As somebody who ate half of a medium pizza last night and then threw batting practice after, like, I just can't. I was already mad at myself for the decisions I had made. I couldn't, like, 4. You're eating 4, 5 fucking cheesesteaks.
Well,
Okay.
Well, he got to, like I say, he got to 18 in the 3-day mark. And
So that the record was 17. He got to 18.
Yes.
He did 6 a day.
Yes.
Okay.
And considering all the meat and cheese he'd stuffed down his gullet and still feeling pretty good, and with the Brewers in town for a 4-game series, Hanel decided he might as well pass Matt Latos's 4-day mark of 18. And he did, gorging 23 total cheesesteaks.
Just eat one. Just eat one.
No, you got to set the bar high.
Oh,
man.
God.
You got to set the bar high.
Well, fuck then. Where was the 6th? You didn't do the 6th one that day.
Fuck, another 5's pretty good.
Well, I guess you got to leave town right after the game's
true.
over, too.
True, you got to consider that pressure change in the airplane.
Oh, fuck. Imagine sitting next to that kid.
That'd be
If they had, okay, we're off to LA now.
It's terrible. That'd be awful. Quote, to be honest, I think I could have done more if I didn't have to throw batting practice or catch bullpens during the game.
Absolutely. We could all just stuff food in our face all
if we
day.
have more time to
if
eat,
we didn't
can
work
eat
at
more.
all, we could just eat an infinite money and resources, or just a guy standing in our house being like, would you like a provolone cheese on your fucking cheesesteak? And you'd be like, yeah, absolutely. I'll just eat these all day until I die.
Yep. So 18 is pretty untouchable, you'd think, in 3 days.
Yes.
3 days, right?
Like, dude, 13 was on, 11 was on.
11 was pretty good, yeah. So like I say, 18 is pretty untouchable, you would think. But there was one man crazy enough to attempt the feat. Mike Jasperson, strength coach for the Colorado Rockies.
Okay.
And this is what I was talking about before, as I mentioned. Like, you'll see how serious these dudes take this now.
I mean, I imagine a strength coach doesn't have to fucking catch bullpens and throw batting practice.
No, he doesn't. He also
unfair
has
advantage.
He has a couple. I sort of was leaning towards that as well.
Yeah.
You know, because also he actually sat down with Rockies chef Tyler Hines to map out a strategy before going after Hanel's mark during a series against Philly in May of 2022. He had a daily regimen he followed. Quote, before I'd get to the park, obviously digestion is key at this point. I walked to Starbucks to get a venti iced coffee, chugged that, walked around town a little bit, came back to the hotel, then I did a little warm-up in the hotel gym, walked for 30 minutes, took a cold shower, and then it was off to the park.
Look, I just made sure I shat my pants real good, then had a nice eye-opening shower, and got ready to fucking perform.
That's right. I am a fucking chiseled athlete. I am a well-oiled machine.
I'm still on the unfair
And the
train.
oil is my poo.
We're just going to keep that running. We're just going to keep adding fuel. Oh, God.
Day one was the toughest, Jasperson said.
Everyone says that.
As it was for all the contenders before him. He felt stuffed after 4 chicken steaks, but managed to fight down another 2.5 by the day's end. The next day, his goal was 7, but after adding Tabasco sauce to change up the flavor, he put down 8. Quote, I figured out that I could handle it, and I wasn't going to puke, so I just went for it, he said.
This is the same thinking of a fucking 19-year-old at a party.
Yes.
That's never tasted tequila before.
They're all just frat dudes, but with cheesesteaks this time. On day 3, Jasperson surpassed Hanel's record by devouring 7 more for a 3-game total of 21.5. He said apparently.
Okay.
He said he got, quote, a little bit chesty. And we hate when people get chesty on this podcast.
People have gotten chesty in a few episodes here.
But he said he got a little chesty, but that doesn't matter now because he is the Phillies Visitors Clubhouse cheesesteak eating champion of the world. Jasperson's Rockies also had a 4-game series, so of course he proceeded to blow past Hanel's 4-day mark by inhaling 25 Philadelphia cheesesteaks. Joyous music and high fives encircled the visiting clubhouse.
It's the only thing the Rockies have ever won.
That's right. Yeah. Like, hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cheesesteak fucking World Series, bro.
It's just a pennant looking like a cheesesteak.
I wouldn't be surprised if there is something like that
Oh
by
my
now.
God.
So we'll give some quick honorable mentions here to the rest of the contest categories. The most by a team in a single day is 103.
That's
by the 2014 Mets.
Okay, yeah, I knew this was the Mets. It's always the Mets.
Let me just say, though, let me just add that, like, this is sort of, you take this with a grain of salt. I don't think this one should really count because they had, like, a fucking 6-hour plus rain delay.
That's true. I mean, yeah.
Like, I think it was an afternoon game, and it basically it started, and then they, like, basically played it as a night game.
Oh,
so they were just
did the Mets lose?
I don't know.
I hope so.
I didn't think to look that up,
dude. No, but like, that's a little unfair. But sometimes God smiles upon you.
I think 2014 Mets, they made the NLCS, didn't they? That year?
Yeah, they
or was it the next year?
I don't remember specifically. But anyway, I'm thinking about cheesesteaks, man. And still, I don't think that's as impressive because you got to think, like, with a major league team, if we're including strength coaches and bullpen catchers and shit like that in this record book, you just got to be at least like a 50-person entourage there. So that's like 2 cheesesteaks a person, really.
That's true. That's not that bad. Yeah.
That's like, yeah. I kind of am disappointed.
If I was the guy cooking them, I'd be like, "Fuck sakes, this game start again."
Yeah,
we're out of chicken. So, and before we kind of wrap things up a little bit here, the most cheesesteaks in a single day by an individual, the most by like personnel.
Okay.
Was Giants special assistant coach nicknamed Chop for some reason?
Of course it was.
He ate 10 in a single day.
Oh my God. Yeah, we heard of a few people eating 8 in a day or 9, but
and for players, Bobby Thigpen ate 8.
Okay.
And Adrian Sanchez ate 10 and a half.
What?
Yeah. So that's the most.
Yeah.
And that, Sean and my friends, is the story of the Philadelphia Cheesesteak eating contest that was unintentionally started by Dimitri Young because he was hungry one weekend during the late days of his career. And indirectly, as I said, we'll bring it around here again to a nice moral, how it would help strengthen bonds between staff and players and how the friendly camaraderie among teammates and even non-teammates during a long season can be a fun distraction from a slump or a losing streak or just in general the intensity of playing a 162 game campaign. Young said in Monaghan's article, again, quote, "The allure of it, how it's traveled over the years and stuff, I just find it very entertaining. It's finding the light side of Major League Baseball and how hard it is to be up there and play."
All right. I did not expect you to tell me about somebody eating 10 and a half Philly cheesesteaks in a day when we rolled into this today.
No, I this one was not. I have kind of a list set up of like some ones that I've chosen as stories for this season, and this one was not on that list, and it immediately I was like, oh, this will be a fun one to tell. So it jumped in there.
Went from Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, it kind of went all over the place.
Dimitri Young into.
I had to go a few different places to fill up some time, to be honest. But
I
feel like it was all fairly relevant.
I thought you were gonna jump. I thought at first because you talked about your hot dog thing, but like that's why I thought you might be going for like there was a hot dog. I didn't realize we were getting into a specific
Philly
contest.
Yeah,
that is very serious by the sounds of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could do in a 3-day. I think I could do 9, like maybe 10,
Yeah, like I started when I like I said when I started this episode, I was like, oh, maybe that's some kind of record that like we could break or whatever. But like,
I think we could break it. I forgot about that whole fucking part.
I could break it in like the original form. I think like I think if we really try, I would feel like shit. Okay. But I feel like if we really tried in a 3-game series, I could maybe do the 10 or 11 or do the 11 that was the original record.
Yeah.
But fuck, like that would even be pushing it. 3 each day, and you got to do 4 on Sunday. That's pretty heavy. Do you want to quickly just?
You could do 4 the first day and then 3. It's downhill after
That's
that.
true. You could just roll your way out.
Or you could do the
5, 4,
the
2
pyramid. You could go 3, 4, 3.
There are many options.
There's so many options.
So many options on this. There's only 2 options of your type of meat, though.
Yeah.
Do you want to just quickly hear what the actual world record is?
Oh dear, no. But yeah.
Can you guess who it's held by?
Is it?
It's held by Joey Chestnut.
Oh, okay.
Who came? He appeared actually at Looney Dog Night last season in Toronto.
Oh dear God!
And maybe this is why, because he ate 23.6 cheesesteaks at Dorney Park and Wildwater Kingdom in Allentown, Pennsylvania, in 10 minutes.
Oh God!
23.6 cheesesteaks in 10 minutes.
All right, so it's doable.
Yeah.
So it's doable.
Yeah. I mean, when you say that, that makes like eating 23 in a weekend seem like child's play, but
yeah, no, I'm just thinking like my biggest hang up on the cheesesteak is the green peppers. I like peppers.
Green peppers in there?
No, I don't like green peppers. I
don't think it said they were in there. I think it was just mushrooms and onions.
Oh, okay, the mushrooms, not a big fan. But anyways, it just I've been to Philly. I've had a cheesesteak before, and I think a lot of times there's green peppers on there, which is like a no-go for me. Mushrooms we can work with, but
well, I think that if we ever go to Philadelphia, we should at least like tell them that we're gonna try to break the record, and maybe we could get a few free Philly cheesesteaks. I think we'll fail miserably, but
just eat one and be like, I don't actually like that.
Yeah, that's actually not that good.
You know, I want to eat something else when I'm here, like vegetables. Maybe
we get our asses kicked in Philadelphia.
Oh, dude, we'll get batteries thrown at us one day.
Yeah.
But yeah, until that was great. I was really like, I have no fucking idea where we're going with this, and that landed nicely. So yeah, till next time, where can the people find us, Edsy?
You can find us on Twitter at Doing Baseball, and on Instagram and TikTok at Doing.Baseball, and I'm on Twitter at EdsDoBaseball.
And I'm at Sean Do Baseball, and we want to thank you all for listening, and of course, give us a follow, give us a rating. It helps us get out there. Appreciate everybody taking the time to listen to us. And until next time, I'm Sean.
And I'm Eds.
And we were bringing you the baseball.
Okay, bye.